Hey everyone, it's Rick here, and I would like to welcome you all to the Dragonflight 10.0 Destruction Warlock Rotation Guide. Now, the things I'm going to walk you through today are basically what buttons we're going to be mashing, throughout Dragonflight. And with that, I'm going to walk you through the single target rotation, the AoE rotation. I'm going to show you a couple of, variations of basically the emerging builds that we have going on. And I'm also going to show you, some small min-maxy things that you could be doing to inch yourself a little bit higher than, the competition. Now, to the new players that are probably going to see this guide, well, over the course of, a couple of months into Dragonflight, be mindful that some of the information that I'm providing to you may be outdated, or there will be sims giving or showing different outcomes of what I'm going to be talking about now. I'm doing that on the, basically prior to the launch of the expansion, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Now, nevertheless, to the new and aspiring players that want to pick up Warlock and are wondering where to begin with, this first of all, this welcome, and you've made a very good choice to pick up a Warlock, and Destruction might be one of the easier places to begin with, I suppose. It's the spec itself is very easy, and it's, a simple builder spender kind of spec with, some spells or cooldowns or like small min-maxy things that you need to keep in mind. But there are no reactionary procs or like none of these altering this like procs that alter your rotation or put you in a decision where you have to make, put you in a spot where your decision making is required to play the spec optimally. So that doesn't exist basically with Destruction. However, this is a spec that requires you to stick to some certain fundamentals or some principles. I don't know which word fits better, but I'll walk you through to these in a moment. I'm sorry, my throat is still hurting a little bit on zero. But yeah, I'm going to begin with the single target rotation in a second. So let's just walk you through the talents that we're working with. I'm sorry, and then I'm going to give you some of the principles that apply to both single target and AoE basically. So yeah, I'll just go through the talents, and I'm going to explain what the rotation looks like. Then I'm going to explain the kind of the min-maxy things, and I'm going to showcase the rotation. I'll put thumbnails or like timestamps in the video below if you're more advanced than what I'm about to explain, so you can just skip to the actual rotation part of the video. And yeah, also for the people that eventually are going to be watching, bottom right of the screen, right above my details, you'll be able to see exactly what buttons I'm pressing. And I'm sorry I forgot to put these for the affliction warlock. I'll make sure to keep them off for the demo video as well. Now, the talents that we're working with, I'm not going to spend much time on the left side of the tree. We have a couple of talents that are throughput talents, so I'm going to mention. You have Grimoire, you have Soul Conduit, and this one here, which I'm boycotting because it's not a good note, and both spells are super undertuned and they don't interact with any of our specs, so pretty much bad spells. But for the sake of it, a single target, you should be using that one. He's doing about 0.1% of your damage. Now, the other two notes are up here, Demonic Inspiration and Wrathful Minion. Both of these are supposed to be giving some damage to your pet, or if you're using Grimoire of Sacrifice, they should increase the damage of this proc. However, the proc itself does not work with Grimoire of Synergy. So for the time being, we're not using it, but if it's fixed and the sim suggests that this is better, we're going to alter the build a little bit to make sure that we get to this point. And speaking of that point, let's just go to the right side of the tree. This is the preliminary build that we might be playing for single target. It performs rather like middle of the pack. It's not super great, it's not super bad, it's right dead center, in the middle of the pack. Okay, before I get to some of the the issues, let me explain to the new people. The spender, Chaos Bolt, We have Conflux. This is a spell that you're gonna press often. It's an instacast, you can press on the move. And a lot of the min-maxi things are connected with this spell, basically, because this spell gives you backshaft charges, which you should, if you can, always, it's recommendable that you use them to spend the charges to make your Chaos Bolt cast faster, but it also works on your Soulfire if you're talented into it. Another thing that Conflict does is to apply debuff on the target, which makes it take more damage basically from all your abilities, beside Chaos Bolt. And this buff, you basically should aim to upkeep, like to have very high uptime on that buff. Okay. So these are some the two concepts right off the bat that you need to be sticking with. Another one, I'll just go through it and then I'm going to explain what other spells we have going on here. Another one is basically the Conflag, the Roaring Buff Blaze. You can also, if you're talented into this build here that I'm showing, which is Soulfire and Channel Demon Fire, like one Conflag charge, one Roaring Blaze duration can get you through the full cast time of the Soulfire plus the full channeling duration of Demon Fire, so they both are amplified, and then you can just continue as, you know, filling with Chaos Bolts, Incinerates, Chaos Bolts, you know, and so on. Another small min-maxi things, the thing that you guys should be kind of striving towards is Madness of Ashgir. This buff makes your Chaos Bolt and, you know, other spells, but we're talking about single target rotation right now, to whenever you cast it the second time, it's doing more damage basically, and the cast duration should be lowered. In Dragonflight that was a little bit harder to pull off, but now it's this debuff is 1 second longer, like this. It's a 5 instead of 4 seconds. So basically you have the time to press another button here and then, you know, do it. So that's a big thing that we are going to be striving towards. And this talent, obviously, we're going to play in combination of either of those two, but every time you cast a Chaos Bolt, you'll be pressing an Incinerate, which will be an empowered one with Burn to Ashes, so it will do a little more damage, and also Incinerates are very high chunk of our damage right now. So yeah, that's another thing that we should be trying to do. And last but not least, that's probably true for most of the casters out there, like, always be looking like to be casting, basically, to be pressing buttons. Even if you're kinda like close to shark capping, make sure that you keep casting, for example, Incinerates, if you cannot pull off a full Chaos Bolt or like a Soulfire or whatever, because Incinerates, as I said, a very big chunk of our damage. Okay? Now, what the rotation is gonna look like. With this build, the rotation is gonna look like as follows. I'm gonna start with Soulfire or Emulate if, you know, it's the other build, which I'm gonna get to a second right after showing this build, and I'm gonna explain why this is a little bit, like, looks good on the dummy, but the other build does slightly less damage, but you're not as stationary because you have multiple spells that you need to hold for a very long time, and in a raiding environment this may be difficult when you have to execute mechanics. So, and the other build is more focused on just passive damage on the target with Emulate. So yeah, the beauty, I'm gonna spell out the rotation for you guys, and then I'm gonna get on the dummy and I'm going to execute it for you, because, you know, I just want to make sure that I don't mess it up, and you guys can watch the tracker basically of what I'm pressing. So, okay, first and foremost, Emulate, Soulflame, Kata, whatever you have talented, Conflag, Channel Demon Fire. Now here's where the sim is probably gonna tell us which is better, whether to pop the Inferno before the Channel Demon Fire or after, but for now I reckon it's a little bit better to pop it after with the trinkets, because otherwise you're losing like 3 seconds being overcapped with charts, not pressing Chaos Bolt, so it's, I don't think it's efficient. And after that, after the Inferno and trinkets, you're just going to full Chaos Bolt Fiesta with this talent, which is Crushing Chaos. This makes our Chaos Bolt cost 1 shard basically, and you're going to be close to capping, or maybe basically capping the entire time. But yeah, just keep spamming them. And after that point, fill in with Conflags whenever you can, and Empowered Incinerates, which in the Inferno rotation is probably going to be not needed, kind of, because you're always very high on shards, so you just want to spend as much as you can. And also another thing that it's probably going to be sim, kind of dependent on the sim. Soulflame and CDF during the Inferno window, I don't believe will be with high priority. You should probably push it back unless you're very low on shards and you know for a fact that you're not going to be overcapping and you can just get off, for example, the Channel Demon Fire in the Inferno duration. But yeah, for now it's been kind of iffy if you're ever low on shards, so I've not been too much like focused on actually getting another Channel Demon Fire off in the, in that Inferno window. But yeah, so let's just get to the rotation now, and I'm gonna show you what we're working with. Channel Demon Fire, ratio, and we spam Chaos Bolts now. It's your down shards the entire time. Pumping, now we can get maybe a sin right off here. Okay, we are going to be low now, so we can get another so far and see the channel difference. It's like we're already capping. We'll just keep pumping. But this should be, I think, lower importance to press so far there with the channel in front. And so far it's not going to be ready, usually because the dummy is low HP and you're getting CDR on it. But yeah, here we go again. And here's the Roaring Blaze, by the way, if you guys cannot see it, it's here. It's with the same icon as the Conflict, this one. I'm gonna spend the Incinerate. Oh, could have been better, but it's fine. I'm gonna lose one Madness cast, spend the Incinerates. And that's pretty much the rotation, you just keep going like this. I'm gonna have... when you have the 4-piece, you can get like 2 Incinerates off, because the cast is super fast. Yeah, that's the rotation basically. And now I can do this. I could have Conflict, I should have Conflict actually. But I didn't wait, so yeah, we're just gonna do this instead. And now we go into a double Chaos Bolt with 1 Incinerate in between. We just keep going like this. I don't think you can usually get 2, but we can try now because we had the, what's called, entropy buff, which is giving us a little bit of haste. Yeah, with enough haste basically you can sometimes get off 2 Incinerates in between the Madness of Ajikir buffs. Yeah, generally this is what the single target rotation is gonna look for you guys. I'm going to Dragonflight. Now, let me explain a little bit about what probably could happen here. This build requires you to be very stationary to do optimal damage, and this is not a realistic scenario, and you will be hearing this from me in most of my videos where like I take into account what you as a player are going to have to deal with during a fight or M+ run or like all of these scenarios. So variation of this build is going to be something like this. What am I missing here? I believe this. Yes, there is a chance it can look like this, but obviously, as I said, it's all up to sims. Now, why these points? This is extending your emulation, and this is making your emulation tick for a lot more damage. And this is obviously a passive proc, but your movement is a lot, like you have a lot more freedom in your movement basically here. And you can do more mechanics, and you're still going to do very similar damage to what you're already doing. And if this is not a point that's doing good damage, you can just go here, or you can probably take this one, although I'm not the believer of Shadowburn right now. I feel like this spell has lost some identity. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. Like if they want us to pick it, maybe they need to do something with the cost one soul shard, I don't know, like something needs to be done here for this to be a good spell. Yeah. Why this spell? This one is proccing off of itself. I'll show you in a moment here. Basically like this. And you follow the same rotation, but you replace so far with basically emulating. Yeah. Yeah. The Havoc part of it. So basically, if you do this, I'll just send the 1 Chaos Bot and I'll show you that it's proccing off of itself. Look at this. Boom, 7k. How much? Another 8k. So basically, this is small damage gain It usually amounts to, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5%, kind of depends how much, you know, hit effects you get going on, but yeah, this is a very small damage gain effect, and it will be a more important spell when we go to the AoE portion of the video, which is gonna come up right in a second. But generally, this build here is doing very, very similar output to the previous one, and there is a third version of that, which I mean, I'm a personal fan of it, but right now it doesn't work because we don't have enough secondaries. It's something like this. Even this, sorry, because we need to generate more shards, but it just is not quite enough. Like, we're spending a little too much time like casting incinerates, but this damage here definitely has the potential eventually, maybe down the road too, when we have more gear and more stats, like second patch maybe. We'll see, but yeah, this is also a possibility that we might be seeing. But that's for another video, basically, in the future. Alright, so with that, I'm gonna conclude the single target portion of the video, and we're gonna move over to the AoE portion. Alright guys, and we're back with the AoE portion of the video now. Okay, there are two builds I'll show you, and I'm gonna try to be a little more like speedy with this portion, because there isn't much to explain about AoE, like destruction AoE, as much as, you know, the affliction part of the video. And the same principles that you have applied to the single target rotation are mostly applicable to the AoE side of the rotation as well. So that's one of the first builds, and it's a very straightforward build, and it's a build that you guys might end up playing at the start of the expansion, kind of, and in lower keys, because it's a very straightforward, upfront, like damage kind of build. You just press your kata, your CDF, then Inferno, and you start either spamming rain, or you're pressing Chaos Bolts in this window. However, now on 4 targets, on stationary 4 target, I've had the outcome has been the same whether I Chaos Bolt or rain. However, I suspect on 5 targets or more, you should just press rain. On 4 targets and less, you can press either Chaos Bolt or rain. It's basically a player agency to know if this pack will be moving a lot, so it's better for you to cast Chaos Bolts, or if you have to move too much yourself, you're probably better off casting Rain of Fires. Now, if however you spec into these two, they also, as I said, they're actually very similar in output. Whether it's the extension, like bigger CDF damage and extension accumulates, or Rolling Havoc. This one requires a little more min-maxy things, so like paying attention to stuff. So I'll just go with the other one, because like I also want the beginners watching the video to be like, you know, to be easier for them to follow. But yeah, with this build, very straightforward. Just press Kata, CDF, and start pumping. And in the Inferno window, I'm going to be spamming Rain, because I think it's faster to a fast way for you to spend your shards. But if you get Bloodlusted and PI, for example, you might be able to just get away with spamming all your Chaos Bolts in your Inferno window. Yeah, let's get started. When ready, press the Kata, Inferno, Trinket, CDF. Okay, that was a mistake, should have waited, but having 200 ping, so it is. You want to press your Havoc after the CDF, because like we lost like 3 seconds right now on Havoc, but that's fine. And we just keep spamming. I'm gonna press CDF now on cooldown because you're on low shards. Keep spamming, keep spamming, and that's pretty much the rotation, yeah. I'm gonna do Kata here. And we're gonna do Chaos Bolts, because you have Havoc now. I keep spamming Chaos Bolts now. And these Chaos Bolts are splashing on all targets there. Won't cut this short so you can catch the buff. Okay, we missed it. Oh, unfortunate. That's pretty much the rotation, and you just keep going. And when you're outside of Inferno, if you have Havoc up, you just Havoc and you press Chaos Bolts. Now we're gonna wait here for this window. Okay, so we're gonna press CDF. We're gonna catch most of the emulates. We're gonna extend. We're gonna do Havoc. And we're just gonna spam Chaos Bolts again. We should have pressed one Incinerate here so we can have the shards, because, okay, we got lucky, but that's fine. Again, same principles as I said in single target. That's pretty much it. And if you're overcapping a lot and you're gonna have to move, feel free to press like a rain here. Okay, so that's with the first build. Let's get to the second build, which is Season 3, Season 4 build. I think most of you that have played... Okay, we're in combat. I've played Shadowlands in the last 2 seasons Destruction, which I bet many of you have. Hello. It's so basically the same build, and it's just as effective as this build, I would say. So not much changes. This one here changes a little bit because that's a longer havoc duration, so you get to, you know, throw more, whether that would be emulates or conflags, so you get more shards up. Obviously you're gonna lose some damage on single target and in 3 to 4 targets. Like for example, I'll use this build and the kata build basically in dungeons like Shadow Moon Barrier and let's say Hose of Valor, I think, because there are a lot of bugs. If your group is like kinda on the newer side, you'll be kinda just pulling 4x4 mobs, and kata with this build will probably be a little bit better suited for that area. But this one, let's get into it. Nothing too complicated. You open up with emulates and Inferno, and just spam rain. That's it. Literally, that's all about it. So yeah, I just get started, I guess. I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna open up with Havoc so we can actually get it a bit faster. We're gonna press 2 more emulates here. There we go. We got 4 stacks of Throwing Havoc. Now it's gonna be 5 stacks. There we go. I'm gonna press 1 conflict right before it ends so we can... Oh, I forgot to check it, but that's fine. I'm gonna have to refresh some emulates in a sec. There we go. I can refresh one. We're very high on shards, so we're gonna wait for the Havoc window so I can refresh the other emulates. There we go, we Havoc. We get a Rolling Havoc at now, stacks 3. We're gonna get 5 now with this refresh. Boom, there you go, 5. And just keep spamming now, and that's pretty much it. I hope you found these like rotations and this information useful. If you did, please, I would welcome you to give me a follow either on my stream or my YouTube or Twitter, I suppose. And if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. Also, feel free to join my Discord and drop by and say hello. I am frequently online there, like, or I should say, whenever I'm not streaming, I'm available for any questions you might have for Warlocks. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these, and I'm gonna see you in the next one, which will be Demonology, coming very soon. So, for the meantime, thank you very much for watching, guys, and take care. Bye-bye.